Welcome back to Attack on Titan anime review. This is part 4, and this one I'm reviewing the first 3 OVAs that have been released. There's been 6 overall released. I decided to basically split this up into for this video, the next one, and the following one. I decided to do this simply because, well, in the case of the next 2, it's an adaptation of the Chance with No Regrets. Yeah, Chance with No Regrets, the 8-chapter manga along with a prelude, and the following one is the start of the Lost Girls miniseries. Okay, but first we're going to start with the first 3 released. These are numbered according to the actual site when it comes to these things numbered. These are episodes 3, well, according to numbering, this is 3.1, 3.25, 3.5, 50 and 3.75, which I'm kind of like, okay, that's, yeah, it's 3.5, 3.25, and 3.75. Yeah, these are the episode numbers. Technically, these episodes kind of take place during the time period between episodes 3 and 4. It's taking place during, like, the second and third one takes place during the 5-year time jump. Let's start with the first one. Ilse's notebook, Memoirs of a Recon Corps member. Yeah, this one takes place in the year 850, but it takes place before the events of the Troust arc. Yep, it takes place well before that, and yeah, it takes place just before that, and it's they say it's the 49th expedition out behind the walls, which here's kind of the thing. When they do the expedition during the 6th part that comes right afterwards, they say that's a 57. So this is basically 8 expeditions before that. And there is one particular, there's like 3 characters. Now, in case you're wondering, is any of the main characters actually like, is any of the 3 primary ones in this particular one? They are actually still in training. This is before they graduate. So yeah, there's that. So mainly put, this is a focus on Zoe Harnett. I think that's how you pronounce her name. She is, oh, it's Hounge. Yeah, the section chief, which in the sub they call her squad leader, even though in the dub and from a lot of information I've heard, they refer to her as section leader. And they also, of course, this is sub, they refer to her as Hannes Salma. Now, I could not find a dub version of this or the following 2 episodes. Well, I have heard that the first 2 have been officially been released in English, but the third one has not. I don't know why. I'm like, why can't Filmation dub it? I just don't really know why. With this particular one, the story for this is that they find a Titan which is somewhat sentient, and apparently this Titan house basically decides to follow it, and it falls to a tree and it bangs against a tree, and reveals there's actually a dead body in there, and the body has been dead for a year, and it turns out it's actually the body of a dead woman named Ilse, and she did some recon with the 34th expedition, which, according to Zoe, that's her first name, it says actually was done the year prior, though her name is spelled quite weirdly here. It's pronounced traditional Zoe, Z-O-E, but with 2 dots over the O. I think that's usually that's somewhat of the Hispanic, or I'm not really sure exactly what type of spelling it is, but her first name is Zoe. Now, the way this woman looks, she looks like to be in probably about her mid-30s, and she constantly blushes at seeing a Titan. I am not kidding about this. That's basically how her character is. So, Captain Levi's in here as well, though they refer to him as Corporal for some reason. I don't really know why. It's just probably the subbing that I got, but yeah, despite the fact he's supposed to be a captain, and has been captain for some time. Oh, and I have heard that he's supposed to be, at this point in time, in his early 30s. Yeah, this is according to the writer of the series. He's in his early 30s, which, looking at him, he doesn't look like he's in his early 30s. He looks like in his mid to late 20s, but okay, I guess I can buy that. And the fact that he's really short. Yeah, this guy is really short. Yeah, and he also, in case you, I found this out via somebody else, that apparently he suffers to insomnia. That's the reason why his eyes are the way they are. Yeah, there's that. And they basically go through what happened with her previously, and the woman is mistaken for Ymir, which I'm like, Ymir, you mean the woman who spent 60 years as a Titan? Yes, the same woman. Yeah, she's mistaken for being Ymir, and here's something really weird though. And she started asking the Titan really questions the Titan stuff answers for her, so the Titan just bites her head off and just leaves the body in the tree. Doesn't devour her, just bites the head off and goes straight in the tree. I don't really know why the Titan did this. It's never explained because the Titan's immediately killed by Captain Levi because one of his men was put into danger by Zoe. So, and he's the one that finds a notebook, and and hands it to Zoe, and she reads it, and gets a pretty good amount of information. Now, what she wants to do is capture a Titan alive for experimentation. Initially, she's told no because she didn't want to risk the manpower to do it, and then after reading the notebook, excuse me, she actually puts together a really good proposal, and on the 50th expedition, they captured 5 Titans. I'm not kidding. It looks like 5 Titans captured in this metal net with spikes in it, which they use this particular net for when they capture Annie later on when she was revealed to be the female Titan. Yeah, they use this on her, both in the forest and in wall strata, I think I'd say pronounced. Yeah, it's the third wall. hmm it's actually really good OVA for what it is. The weird thing is, of these 3 OVAs, this was actually chronologically the last one. The the third one is actually chronologically the first one, and then of course you have the previous one, the second one being obviously the second one. But here's kind of the thing. Let's talk about the second. Let's talk about the third one because this takes place 848 Distress, taking place 2 years before present day, where the 804 Training Corps is doing an exercise, just walking around in a complete circle, and apparently I think this is supposed to take place over the course of a few days. Yeah, and then pretty much with the first group, their gear is actually stolen. Yes, after like one night, and their gear just taken right away, and they try to go out looking for it. And the other group now. One group is comprised of people like now. Mitsuka and Aaron are in 2 separate groups, and she actually does a little bit more than Aaron does. Aaron does a lot of pigheaded stuff in here. Now I'm kind of glad they didn't have him turn into a Titan during this period of time because he's not supposed to do that during the Battle of Torturous. I can tell by looking at it. And thank you that the animators remember that. Oh yes, he's not supposed to turn into a Titan, despite the fact some people probably was expecting him to do that. But this takes place 2 years before the Battle of Torturous, so there's that. So they find the thieves who also kidnapped Krista. By the way, Krista has probably been kidnapped almost as much as Aaron has. This is actually chronologically the first time she's been kidnapped. She's also kidnapped at least twice in the actual series. So she's been kidnapped 3 times. I am not kidding about this. She's been kidnapped 3 times. So not only by these thieves, but she's also kidnapped by Ymir, who is forced to work with Reiner and Brannon, and she's also kidnapped during the uprising. So she's kidnapped 3 times, and Aaron's also kidnapped too. So she's almost kidnapped more times than almost anybody else in the series. Yeah, and they also reveal in this one that in this particular one, because it takes place before the previous one, that Sasha, aka the Potato Girl, is in fact a cook. Yes, and she says she's a really good cook. And they also talk about how Jean and her grew up in the forest, though they grew up in 2 different villages. No, I heard some really interesting information about her. The fact that originally she didn't have a ponytail, and the reason why she's in the anime a lot more than she is in the manga. They're in the arc they act out for season 2. The reason why that is because of her popularity. Yeah, the writer did not expect her to be this popular, so that's the reason why the animators include her a lot more in the actual Clash of the Titans arc than they actually do in the actual manga. Which, thank you. I think it's like Foxtron, Foxtron Anime. Yeah, that YouTube channel. Yeah, I found a lot of information about Attack on Titan. Thanks to that channel. Well, I haven't watched every video on this channel, but I find out a lot of stuff. Yep. So, and they go find the thieves. Yeah, they're actually fighting thieves, and they say this is the first battle they fought. This is kind of like the first unofficial battle. So they suspend the exercise, go rescue Krista. This is before she's revealed to be Historia Ross. So they rescue her, beat the bad guys, they didn't kill them, and then they hand them off to military police. Armorette's report, hands it off. The instructor pretty much accepts it, basically what it is. He doesn't have a problem with them doing what they did because he believes that they did the right thing by getting their gear back and arresting Krista. So a really good OVA. Next up is the second OVA, and chronologically the second one of these three ones. And this one is called The Sudden Visitor, The Treacherous Curse of Youth. This one is actually not focused on it's actually focused on two of the side characters in the actual series. This one's primarily focused on Jean, who is Aaron's rival in the series, who has a very sort of, well, he's not very nice to his mother at all. And by the time this is finished, he doesn't apologize to her at all. And this one, I actually heard about some stuff for this one that is never shown in the actual series. Like, you get a chance to see Mitsuka lifting up very heavy boxes, two of them, and you also can see her rock hard abs, and also wearing a gym outfit, which, according to the creator, he really did want to see her in this outfit in the actual anime, but it was cut due to time. But thanks to this particular OVA, she was able to wear it, and you actually get a chance to see her train, which you got to appreciate her for that. I've also heard she's got super strength, and she was able to pick up Eren in the actual manga. Yep. Great things you can hear about her, like the fact she's named after a battleship, with the battleship is also named after a fire mountain in Japan, which is cool. And the fact that the basis of her character is based on a woman that the writer just randomly saw when he was trying to come up with her. Yep. And the scarf is not. Now, the scarf in the anime is red, while in the manga it's supposed to be like black or brown, which they changed it due to fate, which I've heard the writer is not. He doesn't believe in fate. Yeah, I can find out wonderful things when you hear about these. When you hear about what the base of these characters are. Yep. So yeah, three really good OVAs. Well, I forgot to talk about the story for this one. The story is that, well, Jean and Sasha have an argument, and they try to have a fight, and then Commander Proxus stops, like, oh, you're going to turn an argument into a training exercise? That's disrespectful. Let's have a cooking contest, so you can cook the better stuff. And you can learn basically a lot of stuff about Jean, the fact that he loved omelets when he was younger, so he cooks Commander an omelet, while Sasha cooks him a steak. I'm not kidding. It's a steak. It looks like a 2-pound steak, and he loves the steak. So he's like high over the moon, like slashing up Titans, which is something he's never done in the manga or the actual series. And then for some strange reason, I have no idea why this is, he apparently, you actually see it in this vision, you see several of the characters, not only Eren turn into a Titan, but also Armin and Mitsuka, and I think Jean turned into a Titan, and of course, the commander goes shooting himself out into space, and it's all a vision because he loves that meat. Excuse me. And of course, he tries Jean's omelet, and he loves it, and declares Jean the winner of the contest. And this is also the second time that I've seen it where Sasha's wearing civilian clothes. Yep, it's the only second time I've seen her do it. And it seems like plain, like, looks like about 15th century style clothing that, well, people on the streets would wear. Yeah, that's simply put how the level of technology is in the show. And in the actual manga. So, that's it for this particular part. 3 great OVAs, despite the fact these particular ones, from what I've heard, are not essentially canon. Though, I think of the 3 of them, you can probably say the first one's kind of canon, due to the fact some of the stuff in this particular OVA does have some stuff later on. In the case of the other 2, well, I'm not really sure. I could kind of consider them canon due to the fact they take place during the 5-year time skip, when they're training, which is something. But, yeah, so that's it for this particular episode. So, next one is going to talk about the adaptation of A Chance of No Regrets, which is the backstory of Captain Levi, which I have heard his last name is Ackerman and he's related to Mitsuka. They have not revealed what type of relation it is, though I think it's probably, though some people theorize she's probably his cousin. That's just the popular theory right now. Cousin or probably, I highly doubt brother because Mitsuka is 15 and he's in his early 30s, so it honestly makes no sense. Uncle possibly, but due to how young he is, I highly doubt it. My guess is he's probably just a cousin. But the writer has a very tight lip about that. Yep. So, until I see you on my next video, bye.